Hey Misfits! So in this week's video we're going to be talking about how we keep our daily life balanced, as well as some tips for you. We're going to talk about the struggles about keeping your work, home, and school life balanced. We want to start off with telling you about how we keep our schedules balanced and then lead into the tips.
So most of this video is actually going to be performed by the one and only Sam.
The one who can hardly talk.
Yes. Because my life at the moment is literally work. And a little bit of home, and there is no balance, so...
Yeah, and you know, COVID's going on, so it's not like we have a social life right now.
Nope. No need for that.
Can't really go anywhere. So this should be relatively easy for Becca to chime in on, and then for me to explain. So for me, I'm currently full-time worker, full-time going to school, and then home life. So for me, I balance it out by putting work first. So I work right about 60 hours a week. So thankfully I'm able to have a set schedule. I know what days I'm going to go in. There might be a random day off or a random day I have to go in because of unexpected difficulties. So that's not too much of an issue for me. So I know what time frame I'm going to be busy and when I'm going to be free. Then I have school. Thankfully, I'm going to online school, so I'm able to go to school at home or at work when I have the opportunity to just be in my office and on break. And then, of course, home life follows after that. So the next biggest thing that I do is I create a to-do list. Even though I never follow to-do lists, it's still something good for me to write out what needs to be done. That way I am physically reminding myself what needs to be done.
I do the same thing with to-do lists though. I make them constantly, whether it's in my head or on my notebook paper or on the computer notepad. I have my to-do lists everywhere, but I never follow them.
Oh yeah.
It's very rare that I actually look back at my to-do list.
Oh yeah, like I won't sit there and be like, okay, to-do list, this is what I have to do today. No, it's just something to write out and do. So that goes with planning ahead. So that's what I use it for. It's something that I can write it out and I plan ahead. That way I know what's to come. And then I'll be able to make a schedule and create what I need to do. So if I have Wednesdays off, then I'll be like, okay, what I can do on Wednesday is I can do laundry on this day, I can go grocery shopping on this day, I can set up time to study for my exam, and I will set up all these things that need to be done.
I have something on my wall that is a whiteboard, and it has Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And they're each blocked out spaces. And at the beginning of every week, if I did this properly, I would go through and write out everything that I needed to do for that week on their specific days. And that would be a weekly routine, is going back and, okay, I finished all of the stuff for this week. Now this is what's coming up for this next week, for this coming week. So that's a good tool to have as well.
Oh yeah, because I have a giant whiteboard calendar for the full month in my room, and that also helps me keep track of the bills and everything else that I need to pay. I will write what days everything is due or what day I have to do things on, and then that helps me see like the entire month. I like knowing things ahead of time. I like being able to actually plan things out ahead of time. And at the same time, I'm also very spontaneous, and I'm just like, okay, I'm gonna do this today instead.
I still don't know how you do that. I can't figure that out. Because I like to have things structured. I like to be able to know what is going to happen, but I can only actually plan things out about a week and a half ahead-ish.
Yeah.
Sometimes 2 weeks, very rarely, but sometimes.
Only if it's Disney, you will plan things out like ahead of time.
Yeah. See, I have a lot of trips that I tend to make, and so I can set that as, okay, this is 3 weeks ahead. So I have this much amount of time to plan before that. But aside from that, I have no plans except for the week that I'm in.
Oh yeah. Whereas with me, if it's important, like needing to pay bills or a dead set trip that I'm gonna take, I will plan everything ahead of time like those. But if it's not, if it's something casual, like, oh, let's go to the grocery store, or hey, let's go to this, let's go do this, I'm very spontaneous with it, and it throws her for a loop all the time because she's just like, I had nothing planned for today. Why are we doing this? And
I specifically planned for nothing.
And I'm just over here like, well, we have the free time, we have everything else. Everything that needs to be done is done. Let's just go do something. So that is very important when balancing out your life, is creating those moments to where it's basically like a mental health day. Like, you don't want to overload yourself and constantly stress yourself out with work, with school, with outside things. You want to create time and set time aside for yourself. Like, I know for me, part of my nighttime routine is setting aside an hour just strictly for myself. Not playing video games, not talking to her, not talking to nobody else, just strictly for myself. Whether it's pampering myself or just tidying up my room, because I do that at midnight sometimes. It's just spending an hour with myself and kind of resetting my mentality from the day. So that's something that's really important, that helps me keep balance with everything. Like, once I leave work, I leave work. And I tell my employees that if it's my off day, don't contact me, contact the other manager, because I know that I'm going to be busy on those days. I know that mentally I'm not going to be able to do what I need to do for school, for home, if I'm still worried about work. Granted, if they call me, I'm going to answer and I'm going to help them out as best as I can, but I still give them that other opportunity.
I think that's a great practice too, of setting that time aside for yourself. And there's a truck passing by.
Bye!
I'm in the process of rearranging stuff right now, but as soon as I get everything kind of situated a little bit better, I plan on actually making myself a space to collect myself. I want a little space where I can just veg.
So the biggest thing that I do is get my priorities in line. So for me, work is number one, because it's going to pay my bills. It's my daily life. It's going to work because I work so much. So I set out the days that I work, and those, I X out that time frame. I'm not doing anything except working during that time. And then next comes school. So school, what I'll do is I'll work on my break. I will do my homework and everything else. Because I have online school, I have 2 set days a week that all of my stuff is due by. So I know that by those time frames, I need to have everything done. Granted, I'm a bit of a procrastinator when it comes to something, so majority of my stuff, everything's turned in on time, but majority of my stuff is done like the day of, by that time frame. Not really a great thing, but when you don't have time, sometimes that's what you have to do, is you have to get it done in that day. My school week is Monday to Sundays. So if I know so-and-so is due by Sunday, I'll know, okay, this is how much time I have to give myself, this is when I'll do it, this is when it should be completed by. Once work is done, I'll do a little bit of schoolwork. When schoolwork is done, then I focus on everything else. I will focus on cleaning the house and taking care of Ruger.
So while her priority is work, my priority is school. When I was in school, that was at the top of my list. It had to get done. And if I was failing anything or if I missed something, I would tear myself to pieces.
Oh yeah, or I'm over here like, I got a C for my final grade, and I was like, it's better than a D.
See, I would have flipped out if that happened to me.
That was a really hard class, okay?
True.
I don't do math, and that was statistics, and I'm just like...
That's understandable.
Yeah, that was my first C, because everything else I was having straight A's and then like 2 B's and then a C, and I was just like, it's still passing.
That is definitely an understandable one though.
Oh yeah.
But mine were all things that I knew I was capable of tackling. So it shouldn't have taken me as long as it did or stressed me out as much as it did, but
it is what it is.
That's how my brain works.
How long did it take you to do those quizzes?
That's not relevant right now. With my mindset for school, it is, if I don't get this done after class, it's probably not going to get done until the day of. So that's a big tip for procrastinators who work like me.
Oh yeah, try not to procrastinate.
Yeah. Do your best to get your assignments early if you can. Like, study the syllabus so that you know what's coming up.
Oh yeah, that way you know ahead of time, okay, this is due on this day. And if you know that you have days off before that, or if you have time open before that, don't wait until the day it's due. Try to get it done beforehand. You know, I talk about it, but I know how difficult it is because I will stay there and I will start the semester off strong, and I'll be like, yeah, I'll have my discussion post done before Thursday. You know, usually do it on Wednesdays or something. Yeah, I'll have my homework done before Sundays. Get it done on Saturdays and Fridays. But like by the time my 3rd, 4th, 5th week hits out of my 8-week semester, everything's being done Thursday and Sundays, and
it all starts to crumble.
But it all gets done.
I understand, because I have the same issue.
Yeah. Like I don't crack under pressure. I get things done when I'm under pressure.
Yeah.
Like if I'm closer to that deadline, I'm pushing myself more, but then I'm also neglecting other things that needs to be done. So that's why we say don't procrastinate, because it really is such an important thing. Some things you can procrastinate on, you know, like doing dishes, doing laundry, not when it comes to school.
Stop talking, I'm trying to rewind it. Exactly. We have some tips for you.
Yay! From two procrastinators to another. The best things that I have realized to help balance work life, home life, school, social life, but you know, COVID, so there is none right now. But in general, what helps us the most is making a schedule, knowing what needs to be done, what has to be done, what's coming up, making a schedule. Even if you don't follow it, that's okay. But knowing what you have and visually seeing it helps me a lot. Find out what kind of learner you are, whether if you're a visual learner, audio learner, or hands-on.
Kinesthetic.
That too.
Kinesthetic learner is hands-on.
Oh. Another thing is, don't overload yourself with things. Like if you are a full-time worker and you know you're working 60 hours like me, don't try and then do 4 or 5 classes and be a full-time student.
Yeah, you're gonna drive yourself nuts.
Another great thing is, if possible, if you can get a set schedule for work, that will help you tremendously when you are trying to go to school and balance all these other outside life things. Even with daycare and needing to set up time for daycare with outside life, it's so much easier if you set a work schedule. Some jobs are great with it, but you know, majority of jobs nowadays are like, oh, we want a flexible team and all this other stuff.
We got stuff to do.
If you can set a set schedule, I would highly recommend it.
Communication is key as well. If you're feeling super stressed, if you need to have a little bit more time off for finals, if you feel like you can take on more work because maybe school is slowed down a little bit, communicate with people, because that will help you tremendously. Ask for help. Ask for those days off or that time, because that's just how things will get done more efficiently, and it will be healthier for you as well.
Oh yeah. And then another thing is, something that has tremendously helped me with balancing everything is make time for yourself. Whether it's having a bubble bath, whether it's going on walks, or just if you have a porch, just sit outside and relax or play video games. Do something for yourself. But don't sit there and be on your phone and go through social media, because you don't want to be in that social realm. You don't want to go to bed stressed. You don't want to go to bed with all of these thoughts in your head throughout the day. You want to go to bed relaxed and refreshed, because if not, whatever you had on Monday is going to travel in with you on Tuesday. Whatever you go to bed with on Tuesday is going to go with you on Wednesday.
For some people, though, it is a morning routine that you have to set up instead of a night routine. Because when I was in school, what I tried to do, it didn't always function because consistency, is wake up in the morning about an hour earlier than I had to leave. Come out on the porch or go out to a sitting room and sit and have some tea. It was that time that I took when I could take it to refresh myself and wake up for the day. I am not a morning person. I struggle to get out of bed in the morning.
Oh yeah. But try to keep the mentality of having a set schedule daily as well, because that's another thing that's important for keeping life balanced, is keeping a set schedule daily. We all know that things change and not everything you do is constant. But if you keep a constant routine and then eating throughout the day as well, drinking water throughout the day, it all helps tremendously with keeping everything balanced.
Those are our tips for work, life, school balance, everyday, daily balance.
Oh,
what are some of your favorites? Do you have something that you do daily?
You got lost, didn't you?
Yep.
What's something that you do daily that helps you keep the balance in your life? Thanks for watching. Be welcome.
And get creative.